Hi guys, Deanne here from Canada Abroad, and thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be telling you about the Federal Skilled Trades Program. Now, the Federal Skilled Trades Program is one of 3 different programs that can get you into the Express Entry system. Now, to keep in mind here, everybody who goes into the Express Entry system, even if you are able to get into the system, it doesn't guarantee that you're going to get your permanent residence. So we just want everyone to keep that in mind. If you get into the Express Entry system, it means that you can be considered. And what they do is they assign everybody who enters the Express Entry system with a comprehensive ranking system score. Then when they select people, they select those with the highest scores first. So if your score is too low, it is possible you might not get your permanent residence. So it's just important to keep that in mind when you're looking at these different programs. Now, the Federal Skilled Trade Program is for anybody who has 2 years of full-time paid work experience or the equivalent in part-time work in a skilled trade within the last 5 years. So when you are submitting your application, they're only going to be looking at the last 5 years. It's not like the Federal Skilled Worker where they look at the last 10. So you need to make sure that you have enough work experience in the last 5 years. Now, the other thing to note here is in this specific category, your skilled work experience has to have been completed after you were basically designated in your trade. So when you are authorized to work on your own, anything that you did in your apprenticeship would not be able to count towards that. So again, just keep that in mind. Now, if you have that required 2 years of work experience in the last 5 years, the other thing that you need to have in place is you either need to have a job offer from a Canadian employer that's supported by a labor market impact assessment, or you can have 2 separate jobs from 2 different employers, and they also need to be supported by a labor market impact assessment. Now, the reason that we say it's 1 or 2 employers is the job offer that you have and the labor market impact assessment has to be at least a 1-year offer. So if one employer is giving you that 1-year offer with the 1-year labor market impact assessment, that's fine. Or you could have 2 different employers that have each given you a 6-month contract and labor market impact assessment, and that equates to the 1 year. That is also acceptable. If you don't have this job offer in place with the labor market impact assessment, then the other option is for people who have a trade certificate that's been issued by a Canadian province or territory. So if you have a foreign trade certificate, that won't meet the criteria of this program. You actually have to have a trade certificate issued by a Canadian province or territory. So some people who might have been already working in Canada previously, they might have that in place. If not, in some cases, you have to travel into Canada on a visit visa and go and challenge a Canadian trades test to get that certificate to make you eligible for this program. So just remember that a foreign trade certificate does not make you eligible for this program, even though you might have the required work experience. Now, there's only certain trades that are eligible for this program. Not all trades are eligible. So if you want to see the list of which occupation codes fall within the Federal Skilled Trades Program, just click the description below this video, and we will list all of the different categories for you. Now, with the Federal Skilled Trades Program, there's no minimum education required. So if you only have high school or you didn't complete high school, that is acceptable. But because this program uses the Express Entry system, which is a points-based system, if you did have any education that was completed, you would want to have it assessed so that you can get extra points on the comprehensive ranking system. So if you did complete high school or any kind of 1-year or longer certificate diploma, you would want to do what's called an educational credential assessment, and you would then want to get points for that education. Now, in terms of language requirements, you would have to do an approved language test as part of this type of application, and it can be French or English, but there's certain scores that you need to get. Now, for this category only, so only for Federal Skilled Trades people, in your speaking and your listening, you need to get a minimum of a CLB 5 or higher. And then for your reading and writing, you need to get a CLB 4 or higher. So the language requirements for this program are lower than the other programs that use express entry. And these language tests, they're valid for 2 years from the day that you've written them. So you just need to make sure that when you're submitting the application that the language test is still valid. Now, the last thing that you need to keep in mind is this is one of the programs where you have to show a certain amount of settlement funds for your family size. So you would have to provide bank statements or letters from your bank to prove that you have enough money that is liquid, readily available, and unencumbered by debts to take with you to Canada. Now, this amount varies depending on your family size. So again, if you go in the description below this video, we've outlined the requirements for the settlement funds. The only way to basically avoid having to prove these settlement funds would be if you're already physically in Canada on a work permit working for an employer, and that employer is giving you that 1-year job offer with labor market impact assessment that's allowing you to apply for the program. So if you're already in Canada physically working on a work permit, and the same employer is assisting you with a job for the permanent residence, then you don't have to show the settlement funds required for this program. And the last thing just to note is, again, this is not a program that's to be used for anybody who intends to live and settle in Quebec. Quebec has its own immigration system, so you would need to apply directly to them. So just make sure if you do intend to reside in Quebec, that this is not a program that should be used by yourself in trying to immigrate to Canada. So thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel to stay up to date with the latest Canadian immigration news and updates.